Hey guys, how are you doing? It's Katharyne, and today is a really exciting day for AI art. There are so many things happening, it's really hard to keep up with them. But the big one is that ChatGPT just ditched DALL-E. Oh, I've been hating on DALL-E for years. I did like it for kawaii images and simple images, but it has been replaced by something much better. What they have done is included an image generator which is native to the 4.0 model. So what that means, instead of calling out to DALL-E, which is like a separate service, a separate model, now when you ask to generate an image, it does it within the model. So it can use all its thinking power and intelligence to work with the image directly, which means you can do things like this. I prompted it, can you create a simple color cartoon of a Newfoundland dog wearing a Starbucks uniform and serving coffee? His Starbucks apron should have a pin that says Buck Rister. That was a good pun. I came up with that myself. I'm very proud of that. And look at the prompt adherence on that. It put the text in exactly as requested, and it even replicated the Starbucks logo perfectly. Be careful with that, I spy a possible trademark issue there, but very cute if you're just making memes and cute things for the internet. And then here's what's really cool. You can interact with this image, so you can say, this is awesome, can you add the name Zippy to the pin too? And boom, now the bug Rister is called Zippy. Anyway, I wanted to take a break from ChatGPT to bring you some glad tidings. I have put together a book of my 59 favorite Midjourney style references, and so many of you have asked me to do something like this. Here it is. I have turned this into a PDF version, which is free, and this gorgeous physical copy, which you can go and purchase right now from Amazon.com if you would like to support us. If we take a look inside, you'll see it is beautifully laid out. There are the gorgeous images inside. The crazy thing with style references is that you don't need to put any fancy prompting into Midjourney. So you don't need to say, in the style of this and that, make it watercolor, make it detailed, Art Nouveau, whatever. You just need to put the code in. And whatever you prompt for, cat, dinosaur, science fiction scene, romantic scene, bumblebee, tiger, whatever you put in will be generated in that style. And you can use a style reference to create a whole book full of beautiful images in the same style. So these are like gold. And some of these styles are really difficult to prompt for consistently with any AI tool. I have put months and months of work into finding these references, choosing the very best ones that I have, and sharing them. So some of them I have shared individually in my Facebook group, and you can see how beautiful some of these styles are. And you can see how there's consistent coloring and styling to these images. They look like they belong together. Here's another great example of a style reference in this book. I love it because it looks like those 80s teen books, like Sweet Valley High or something. So you could generate so many images with this style reference, and they would look consistent to your books. All the scenes would look like they were by the same artist. Here's another one that I absolutely love. I think these images are so fun. They look like really kitsch 80s B-movie posters and really easy to prompt for. All you need to do is put something like King Kong or gorilla and then the style code, and you will end up with these kind of images. You can turn these into wall art or posters if you upscale them. And this is where the book is really valuable, because I have styles that look hand-drawn. Check out this picture. Does this look AI? No, it doesn't look AI. These look like hand-drawn images. And I include tips for how you can get the best out of your prompts with each style reference. And what I've really tried to do is vary the styles. So this would be amazing for a comic book, for example. Isn't that epic? And this one has this amazing 80s retro look. It's so cool. So this is what the book looks like. It has a little intro from me. And then check this out. It has a guide to blending, because you can use 2 styles or more. You can blend styles together to create something new. So this style is actually a blend of this one and this one. So each page looks like this. It's beautifully laid out. It has a note from me. It has the star reference that you can copy and paste into your prompts. It has some example prompts, and it even has some keywords to describe the images. And there's everything in here. There's elegant pictures that you can use for greeting cards. There's pop art. There's manga. 59 of my favorite star references. I didn't hold back, and I tried to make them as diverse as possible. This is literally 59 of my favorite star references. I did not hold back. I gave you everything that I love here. So I really hope you love this PDF. You can get the PDF for free now on my Gumroad, or you can go to Amazon and buy the book. And if you do that, I will be so grateful. I would love if you tell your friends about this, maybe share a picture of yourself with the book. I would love to see that, especially if this helps you. And if you want to find your own star reference, it's super easy. You can go into Midjourney and we can say something like eagle sref random, and then give it an aspect ratio. And there you go, there is a unique star reference. We can do it again, and now you get a different style. I have done this literally tens of thousands of times and picked out the very best ones for you to put in this book. And you can use them for book covers, illustrations, wall art. It is totally up to you how you use these star references. If you create something awesome and put it online, then share it in the group or give us a shout out. I would love to hear from you. Say, hey, Katharyne sent me to this star reference. But you don't have to. It is yours to do what you want with. They are yours to play with. It had a glitch, but then it continued. So there we go. There's the image. And then I said, can you make this into a coloring book picture? And it did, which is really, really cool. So I'm digging the new ChatGPT update. I think it kind of kills ideogram at this point. I'm not really sure whether there's any benefit to ideogram. However, there are some issues. I don't think this is going to replace Midjourney anytime soon. The big one is that it only creates images that are 3.4 inches big at print quality. So this is how big your image is without losing quality. So what you would have to do is make it this big. And if you're in Tangent Templates, you can see that you get an image size warning that says that the print quality will be affected. So you will end up with a fuzzy image if you use this in your coloring book. So you're good up to about that point. So that's not ideal. However, there are some solutions to this. You can upscale it with a free upscaler. If you're in my Imagine class, that means you have Tangent Crystal, and that will actually crystallize the image, which means it can take out any gray. And this actually converts the image to a vector. You'll see that you can scale this up to any size and it won't cause a problem. And this is actually quite fun in Tangent Templates because you can colorize vector images. So we can do things like this. There you go. And you can also add sketch effects to it. So you could do something like this. I'm going to make the thickness really small with this and create an image. There you go. So you can make it sketchy as well. So those are just some fun things you can play around with in Tangent Templates if you have vector images, if you make those with Tangent Crystal. The new 4.0 does really well with simple images, but it's still having a hard time with adult coloring books. For example, I asked it generate an adult style coloring book here. So I downloaded that and put that into Crystal as well. And you can see that Crystal took the grey out of that image. It also does text really well. So I got this colouring page that says bubble on, and that looks really good. I asked it for a Starry Night inspired colouring page. What was interesting here is it put grey in it. And this is another place where Crystal can help you because we can actually turn up the brightness on that, smooth it out, reduce the details. And now you'll see there's no grey in that image. And that's the advantage that Crystal has over regular upscalers. Not only does it vectorize it, but it also takes all the gray out of the image. So it's really the best tool that I know of for generating professional coloring book pages. And it works so well with tangent templates. So the things I love about ChatGPT's generator, it makes these kind of simple coloring book images really well. And check it out, it even used the same characters twice. It made that image, then I had a technical issue with it, so I re-uploaded it and said, you made me this image, can you make me another one with the same characters? And it did a perfect job with the prompt adherence. It did everything I asked for, making one of them dressed as a captain, saying the Katharyne, and it used the same characters. So this is fantastic. So if you want to make simple kawaii or cartoon images, you can't go wrong with ChatGPT 4.0. But it is slow, guys. It takes ages to generate things. It's also buggy and it hangs a lot. But hopefully, it's really early days. This only came out yesterday. So hopefully they're going to work with those things and improve them. Will it replace Midjourney? No, absolutely not. If you are creating illustrations for books, you're creating wall art, you're creating anything that needs high definition, professional images, you can't go wrong with Midjourney. And I'll give you an example. I was generating all of these gorgeous images. See, I'm just scrolling and scrolling. I was making all of these stunning images. Take a look at that. Isn't that amazing? And look at that cat's eyes. I was generating all these awesome images while ChatGPT made one image. So I made literally dozens and dozens of images while ChatGPT made one. And there was my prompt. I did stunning African queen with this star reference, and I also put my personalization on that. So I can show you how that works super quickly, and you can see how quickly Midjourney does it. So with Midjourney, you have a choice of 3 speeds. You can work in turbo, fast, or relax. Turbo uses the most credits. Relax is unlimited in all account types. So let's generate an image like this. So I'm going to use this prompt again. Stunning soaring eagle. There's my aspect ratio, 3:4. My style reference. And I added my personalization code just because it gives a bit of sparkle to images. And your personalization code will give you different results because it's trained on what you like in images. So if you've spent any time personalizing Midjourney, and to personalize, all you do is go to this personalize tab and it will give you images to rank. It will say, do you like this image or this image? And you do that for a while and it gives you a personalization code. So I used my personalization code on these images. We can run it without, so you'll get similar results as me. So let's see how long this takes to generate 4 images. And this is working in relax mode. Boom, it's done. That's how quickly Midjourney generates images. ChatGPT is taking quite a while to run one image. So long, in fact, that I'm not going to do it on this video because it takes way too long and we don't want to sit through that. So there's a few more cool things that ChatGPT's new image generator can do. I gave it this picture of Isaac and me, and it made a post-apocalyptic image of us and Zippy, which is pretty funny. I also gave it this image of me, and it made an 80s image. I don't think that looks like me, so I used Insight Face Swap to put my face into it, and you'll see that I think that gives much better results. I have a video about that on this channel, so I'll put a link to that in the notes. Lastly, I want to share something really cool with you that I think brings out the best in both Midjourney and ChatGPT, because my workflow for creating book covers just got a little bit better. And some of you have been asking me for a tutorial on book covers, so here it is. These are 3 book covers I created today using Midjourney and ChatGPT. So we have the Ice King here. This is such an impactful picture. I love it. We have In the Tiger Room, and I think this is just a beautiful image. And we have In His Embrace. And what I want you to notice with all 3 of these images is how the detail is on the front cover, and then the back is relatively plain. So you can go ahead and add any text to the back. So you can put your blurb on here, like the Ice King is a story of, and I'm just going to add some lorem ipsum to that so you can see what I mean. And I'm going to make that text a little smaller. And what you'll notice is it doesn't stand out quite as well as I would like. So I can add a box. I'm going to fill that with black. And I'm going to reduce the opacity a little bit so you can just see the background through it. Make that bigger. And a little bigger. And then I'm going to go to the Arrange tab and send it backwards behind the text. So now the text stands out really nicely. I'm also going to change my font and make it a little smaller. And you can change the line height if you want to spread it out a bit more. You can change the character spacing, so you can make it look how you want. But I think that looks fabulous as a book cover, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So first of all, what I did in Midjourney was I generated the image with this star reference. So my prompt was just stunning African king, and I used a star reference that I really like. And I'll share the star ref in the notes for this video, so I'm not hiding that. And what you want to do is use an aspect ratio that matches the trim size of your book. So in Tangent Templates, what you're going to do is go to paperback cover or hardback cover if you want to make a hardback, and you're going to choose your trim size. I'm going to choose a 6x9 book. I want to create a 6x9 book, and my page count is 200. Great, that gives us a simple template for our book. Now I'm going to go back to Midjourney and let's make a new image for this. So let's change it up. We're going to do stunning African queen. And I'm going to set the aspect ratio at 2:3. So I could actually make my aspect ratio 6:9, and that would work fine. But I'm just dividing it down, finding the lowest common denominator, doing some math. And it works out at 2:3. So if you hate math, don't worry about it. Just use 6:9. If you're fancy, do 2:3. And now we want to add our star reference. So I'm just going to click it from this eagle because we have it there. And I'm going to add my personalization code. This is optional. If you have a personalization code, give it a try. It will probably improve your image. So I'm going to run this. Wow, look at these images. Aren't they gorgeous? And we can rerun them. I really love this image, but I'm not keen on the frame. We can run it a couple more times and choose the best image that we get. So now we have a few choices. I really like this one. I think it's interesting. So I've picked this image, and now I'm going to go to the editor. And if you don't see editor, just click more options, and then it should show up here in more options. So I choose editor, and then I'm going to say open in full editor. And what I want to do is click resize this image. So I'm going to go down to the aspect ratio, and this time I'm going to switch to 3:2. And 3:2 means imagine a unit of length. There are 3 of those units along the width and 2 of those units along the side. They don't represent an actual length, they're just a unit. And then what you can do is scale the image to be the actual size you want. So this is a ratio, not the specific size. And I'm just going to pull this image across to the side. And I'm going to put beautiful background. And I'm going to click Submit Edit. And we can run this a couple of times to get a result that you really like. Great. So we have some results. And look at that. I love this. It's just given us a few variations, and all it's done has extended the background. And that's because we prompted beautiful background. If we prompted for something else, like we said, put a tiger in here, it will likely put a tiger if it can make it make sense in the context of the image. But what I love about this is now ready for a book cover. And actually, first I want to upscale it. So I've clicked Export, Upscale to Gallery, and you'll see in my Create tab, it's busy upscaling that right now. It's finished upscaling now, so I'm going to click that. Beautiful. This looks so good. So I'm going to download that image, and now I'm going to head over to Tangent Templates, and I'm going to click Uploads and upload that. And we're just going to put this into our book cover. So I'm going to click Arrange. I'm going to turn off margins for a moment, and I'm going to click Full Width and then center it. So this doesn't quite fit onto the cover, but that's fine. We're just going to stretch this out a bit. And we can just move it to the left a bit so that we have all her face in this gorgeous design. And if we turn the margins back on again, you can see where the spine will be, and you can see where the back cover will be. If this book is important to you, at this point I would also recommend upscaling your image even further. Midjourney does a pretty good job with its upscaler, but this is actually the size of the image at full size. So if you go a little bit bigger, it will look best if you run it through an upscaler. Again, Tangent Templates warns you if you might experience quality problems with your image. The best upscaler on the market is Topaz Gigapixel, and that's the one I use, but it is a little bit pricey. If cost is a problem, then there are plenty of free upscalers available too. And again, I'll put some links to those in the notes. But for now, let's continue. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. And now here's the fun part. I'm going to go over to ChatGPT and see if we can generate some text. I'm uploading my screenshot to ChatGPT, and I'm going to say, please, can you generate some beautiful typography for this book cover? Make sure you're working in ChatGPT 4.0. The title is Queen of the Night, and the author is Katharyne Shelton. And while that's generating, I'll show you the process I had with the Ice King. So I said, I'm working on this book cover. Could you create silver text that says the Ice King and put it in a transparent background so I can put it on this book? Now, at first, it didn't make this transparent. It just added it to the book. And I would recommend not using this image because it lost a lot of detail. Midjourney's image was a lot more detailed, and this isn't. So you would probably have to upscale this, and that would probably affect the text. So I would not use this image as is. So what I did, I said, can you isolate the text and just give me the text on a white background? And it did it. So this looked really, really cool. So I could have stopped there and done remove the background in Adobe Express or remove BG or Canva or whatever tool you like to use to remove a background. But I actually asked it. I said, can you make the background? Oh, I accidentally typoed. I meant to put BG and put big, but I meant background. And it did it. It created a transparent background. So I downloaded that and uploaded it into Tangent Templates, and this is what it looked like. Now, what I noticed, it looked a little bit dull on the actual book. This is the one I just uploaded. So what I did, I actually did some work on the text here. You'll notice if I select this and go to Filters, you can see that I increased the saturation and the contrast, and that made a big difference. In fact, I can show you on this version. So if I bring the saturation up a bit, and then bring the contrast up, that made a big difference. See how that text stands out a lot more once you bring the contrast up? I had a headache with my name. I said, can you do Katharyne Shelton in a blue metallic font? It started off okay. When I asked it to isolate it, it lost that cool metallic effect and made it kind of dull. And I kept pushing it, can you make it metallic? No, it couldn't. We went back and forth a bit, and I gave it the title that it had generated. And I said, can you make a complementary typography to add to this book title that says by Katharyne Shelton? I'd like it in metallic blue shading. Can you isolate the text on a transparent background? This time we got there, so I downloaded that. What I ended up with was this. And I wasn't happy about it because I didn't really want it on 2 lines. I wanted it on 1 line. And in the Image tab, just scroll down to Crop Image. And now you can actually crop that. So I cropped it that way to get the Katharyne, and then I did the same thing to get Shelton. So it's actually 2 images, and I just aligned those at the top. After I worked on the Ice King book, I gave it the picture of the tiger and said, can we do the same with this cover? I want a text that says, in the tiger room with a slightly Asian flair. It made it silver, but I loved that typography. So I said, make it gold. And it did it. And then I said, can you put it on 2 lines instead of 3? Perfect. And what I found is this is very temperamental at the moment. Sometimes it works like a dream, like you see here. Sometimes you have to fiddle a bit. When I tried to make my name, it changed the S around and turned that into a character that's not English. And I had to have a few goes at that. But I ended up with this. And then I was working on some more ideas for manga books. And I got this text, in his embrace, which I thought was really cool. And the great thing is, once you have this text, you can upload this to Tangent templates and then put your image behind it and really experiment with that image. You can also experiment with panning out or zooming out to get more dark space at the bottom of an image. So in fact, we could prompt for that and say, dark space. And you can see that zooming out actually gives us a bit more space at the top and bottom that we could use to put the text in for more contrast. And you'll see what I mean, because the text stands out on some parts of the image, but not on others. If I put that up there, it doesn't look good. But if I put that there, it looks fantastic. You can also just add text and change the colors in Tangent templates. You can add outlines to your text. You can add drop shadows to them as well, and you can change the typography. So you can actually add your own text. So if you want a quick option, you can add text that way as well. In this example, I cheated a little bit. I got this text from ChatGPT, and what I noticed, it didn't stand out that well. So I just drew a box like this. So you draw a box, and then you're going to fill that with a color. I like to just choose my color from the image that I'm using. And then I reduce the opacity a bit, let's say 70. Going to make that the size of this text here. And then curve the corners a bit. And I want to use arrange to send that behind the text. So that's kind of a quick way to make your text stand out. Just use a little panel behind it. But it still looks really good. You can add colors to the border. And you can add a drop shadow. That looks pretty good. I like that. So the background is Midjourney, the text is ChatGPT, and then the panel is Tangent templates. So let's go back to our Queen of the Night example, and you'll see I said, can you generate some beautiful typography? And it came up with this whole bunch of suggestions. So I was like, fine. It said, would you like me to create a mock-up? So I said yes. And this is what it came up with, which is okay. It's chopping off a bit and the text isn't in the right place, but I do like that text. So now I'm going to say, great. Can you keep the Queen of the Night text and put that on a transparent background with padding around it? And the reason I say with padding around it is just because it has a tendency to chop off at the sides. And because it's so slow to generate, I'm trying to manage errors in advance. So let's see what that does. Yes, that looks amazing. So we're going to download this and we're going to go put that on our image. And there it is. That looks so, so cool. Another trick you can do if you want to make it stand out more is we can select the background image and go to filters, and we can actually turn down the brightness a little bit. Oh, that's a bit too much. We can turn down the brightness slightly, and now it stands out more. And we can up the contrast on that. So we can play with this some more. We can really experiment with this, but I'm loving how that looks. We can go back to ChatGPT, and if we want to generate it for the spine, we can say, please put the title all on one line and just get ChatGPT to do that work. And then the way it works is if you want to put something on the spine, you just rotate the text around and then you would put it on the spine like that. There we go. We have created a bunch of amazing book covers in an afternoon. I'm sure there are more tips and techniques we can discover, but using ChatGPT to generate text is such a great idea. And another quick tip before I go, generate your signature a few times in ChatGPT. And that way you can keep it stored in tangent templates and go back to it again and again. Isn't that cool? You can use this over and over again in your books, so you have consistent styling and branding, especially if you're generating a series of books with the same pen name. I hope that was all super helpful to you. Please go and get my PDF guide to Midjourney style references. I put so much work into that, and I think you will get a lot of joy and value from it. And have fun creating with ChatGPT and Midjourney. They are both amazing tools and both have some really cool features. I think in the coming days we're going to see more and more what they can do.